Here's the second thing, discipline with ourselves.
Yeah.
If David wrote this psalm out of dealing with discipline for himself, he would have to deal with the area of his life of where he did some wrongdoing.
Yeah.
Don't hurt us this morning.
In other words, David would have to deal with this psalm, for God's anger is but for a moment. He would have to deal with it from the concept of when he sent Uriah, Bathsheba's husband, out to battle to cover up his sin. Can I push it the way I put it in here? If David is writing this song out of his own self-discipline, what David is saying is, now when God's anger comes to us, it's coming to us to chastise us. I do understand now that this is not a word right through here that we want to deal with in here on the first Sunday of January. Because really, I wanted to come to church and I wanted to shout, I wanted to dance, I wanted to tear up the carpet, but I can't do that right now because I need to be aware that God is still chastising or sending his anger or his discipline upon some of the decisions that we're making in our life.
You know it.
So what does he say? He says, for his anger, the anger here now is the chastisement of God. But here's what I need you to understand. Just because God chastises you does not necessarily mean that God is through with you.
That's true.
The Bible teaches us that whom he chastises, he loveth, or whom he loves, he chastises. In other words, the ones that God has something for, the ones God has confidence in, the ones that God sees potential in, that's why those are the ones that he chastises and abuses and puts and corrects and puts them in proper place. Because once you master this, you have mastered and are ready to go to the next level in him. Watch it. All right, let me give it to you. This is the first Sunday. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 17. Correct.
All right.
Your sons. Right division. Where there is no vision,
Where it is nothing.
the people perish. See, God, I wish I could unpack this here. You cannot go forward in God doing what you want to do. Oh, you Can I park here for a minute? I'm still talking about discipline. I'm going to get to the other two in a minute. I'm still talking about discipline. The discipline says that you cannot say, I'm going to be a better believer, but you can never be on time for Bible class. I'm talking discipline here. How are we going to catch the vision? How are we going to really write the vision? And watch this. Habakkuk chapter 2 says, write the vision, make it plain, so those that read it may run. You can't run with the vision that you're late receiving. After David was corrected, he started over again. What do you mean, Pastor? What do you mean? See, understand that David never lost being the apple of God's eye. After he left with Bathsheba, the prophet Nathan came to him and said, listen, David, there was a man who had one lamb and another man who had a whole bunch of lambs. He took his one lamb, and David said, wait a minute, somebody go get that man. Nathan said, you are the man. You are the man. You took Bathsheba's husband. You took her for your own self and then tried to anger is but for a moment. Watch this, that's the discipline. But now let's look at the time frame. Look at the time frame. Look at the time frame. His favor is for life.
Oh, yeah. That's good news.
That's time. I got an argument. I have to argue this argument simply because I've stated it many times and I've preached it and folks have shouted and fell all over the floor about it. But God really arrested me about it in my studies. We run around church saying favor ain't fair.
All right. I hear you. What you said told you.
We run around church and we shout and we dance and we holler and we roll in the floor because favor ain't fair.
That's right.
But let me suggest to you, favor is fair.
Oh, it is. Yes, it is.
All right.
Yes, it is.
In the time and the season that we're in. Favor is fair. When I'm operating in the right season. Why? Pastor, why is that important? Favor is totally different from grace and mercy. Y'all ain't gonna help me here. See, I understand that the NIV Bible has tricked us. It changes the word mercy into favor. Well, really, you cannot compare mercy and favor. You can't compare mercy and favor. Mercy is God not giving me what I do deserve. Mercy is just God telling me, listen, baby, I should have cut you off, but I'm going to give you a little favor. Mercy is that I know you did wrong. I saw you in your sin, but I'm not going to kill you while you're in your sin. That's mercy. But what happens when favor steps in? When favor steps in, God stops mercy and places another set of miracles upon our lives. In other words, favor becomes fair simply because God said, I dealt with your wrong, but now I'm ready to bless you. Watch this. He said, for his favor is for life. That's the time frame. Favor is lasting for a lifetime. Let me show it to you.